Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Jessica. I'm a stay-at-home mom comedy/commentary channel, and like I've said plenty of times, I have done none of the comedy in the last 2 weeks because of the coverage I'm doing on 8 Passengers and other content creators, but I plan to do more of that in the future. Anyways, let's just hop into the video.
For the very first time, we're hearing from someone who created YouTube content with Ruby Franke and her family.
Who doesn't know, this is the guy that Josh from the Dad Challenge podcast did a live about in regards to the SEX parties that him and his now ex-wife were at but didn't apparently participate in. But I didn't even know that this guy was a former family vlogger. I'll show you in just a moment.
We spoke today about experiences involving Franke, her siblings, and members of that friend group. Keep in mind here, a lot of allegations. We're continuing to learn more about the situation each day. Today I spoke with a man who was described as in a previous report as an ex-Franke family friend. Here's his account on where things stand and his experiences with that family.
So I thought it was important to show you first that he was an ex-family vlogger. So look at all the titles. He used to do pranks. He still has all his kids on his thumbnails. I just sorted by most popular, but if you go by oldest, it's crazy how much he used to do. And it appears that he divorced his ex-wife around 2 to 3 years ago because she is no longer on thumbnails from that point in time. But just to give you a little context about who he is, not who he, I should say who he was, not who he is, but just a little bit of his background before getting into the interview that he talks about stuff.
Can you describe your relationship with that family over the years?
So with Ruby and the Frankes specifically, it's just acquaintances. I mostly knew the greater family with the siblings and the in-laws and that whole culture because they all work together and
I believe he's referring to Ellie and Jared and Bonnie and all their family here.
click together as a whole unit as Mormon family vloggers.
And again, that was in the state of Utah, correct?
Yeah, so when we started to do family vlogging ourselves, we met them at YouTube conventions. And then when we moved down to Southern Utah, several of Ruby's family came down, collaborated with us, and one of them even moved down. And that's when we got to know them a lot better and started going to meet them and see them behind the scenes at private parties and see what they're really like.
Right now, a couple of child abuse charges against Ruby and her business partner, Jody Hildebrandt. What do you make of those charges?
Honestly, it doesn't surprise me. While I wasn't aware of any overt abuse allegations that are coming out now about Ruby, I think that a lot of people remember going back 4 or 5 years ago that it was Bonnie who was in the middle of a lot of attention and even had to go to YouTube headquarters and try to explain herself because a lot of her YouTube content showed her children having bloody noses and split lips, getting stitches and broken arms and fingers and going to the hospital frequently as though it was a form of clickbait to try and get views to their content.
This is absolutely massive to me because is it surprising to see that Bonnie is the only one who's been coming out with content lately, crying and sharing her opinion on things and her feelings? If she is the one and the reason why this stuff occurred and why YouTube had to change their platform in terms of, YouTube Kids versus regular YouTube and this whole culture surrounding posting your kids with bloody faces, this is crazy and actually kind of makes me change what I'm going to say now when I show you guys the Bonnie video.
And it created an entire division on YouTube where ultimately they had to split from YouTube Kids to YouTube for adults, and it affected a lot of content creators and should have stopped this. But apparently what you see on camera is not what you always have going on behind the scenes.
But of what he's referring to here is when you upload a video to YouTube, you have to select, is this made for kids? Yes or no. So if you ever see a YouTube video and it has kid-like commercials like Barbies and stuff, it's because that creator has clicked, yes, it's made for kids, even though a lot of the time the content is indeed not made for kids. So if they did say, yes, it's made for kids also, then comments were turned off at that time, back in 2017 and further than that too, and a little bit more ahead. So that's what he is referring to. And often a lot of people were not, no one was transparent about that. And I've only learned since I created a YouTube channel.
To elaborate on that, what Ruby did we see on camera versus the Ruby that maybe you saw when the camera wasn't rolling?
I think that out in public and socially, unless you see them in a personal situation, like at a party or when they feel like they can let their guard down, what you're seeing on camera is a totally different person in a totally different life.
This is every single YouTuber, vlogger, person. None of them are showing their true life. They're showing you your curated version and what they're trying to sell you. They're trying to sell you the lifestyle, the products that come with it. So he's not just referring to Ruby. He's just saying basically all family vloggers.
There's an agenda to try and portray themselves as upstanding Mormons and to have that persona, and they feel like it's fulfilling who they are and their purpose in life and everything. And so I think that creates a pressure cooker situation where they're willing to live a double life and hide a lot of generational family secrets. I think the end of my marriage all began when our family started associating with Ruby's siblings, and when all of this behind the scenes stuff went on, it really compromised my marriage. And the same pattern that you see playing out in some of these other families happened to me. And I'm not the only one that knew this family and met them and then ended up divorced about a year later under a similar pattern.
Now, I know what he's referring to here is the sex parties that he talked about on the reaction video that Josh played live. But what I maybe am speculating and thinking now is I wonder if it's a similar situation, which I suggested in my video yesterday, talking about possibly Kevin being a victim of Jody, if maybe his wife was mixed up in that and something similar happened where she blackmailed him because maybe he didn't want to do the things that she wanted him to do. Who knows? This is just a guess. Okay, next up I am playing Bonnie's emotional video. I'm saying emotional because she cries in it. I'm not emotional watching it. I just took little tiny clips of it, so not the whole thing. If you want to watch it, just go watch her channel, or I'm sure someone else is probably going to react to it at some point and share a full-length video of it.
The judge has asked us not to speak on certain topics that I will not be touching on. What my family and I have gone through the last couple of weeks is the worst thing that has ever happened to us.
After learning more about Bonnie, I do not feel bad for her on if she feels like it's the worst thing that happened, because it's the worst thing that happened to the children. So I think she should have said that. She said the worst thing happened to us. I think she should have said finding out this news is the worst thing that could have ever happened to these children. I cannot believe it. Something like that, you know?
It is, I spent the first week in complete shock, where I felt my body and my mind and my emotions were completely paralyzed because of the just absolute shock.
The white wall is giving off like apology YouTuber vibes, but I think it's more so like prison. I don't know. It's very odd to me.
Of all of this, the more I learn, my feelings are turning more to anger. I am mad. I am mad at what has happened. I am beyond disgusted, and I feel like it makes me tremble. It makes me tremble because
I mean, it's good she's upset, but watching her cry, I'm like feeling triggered and just like annoyed by it. I don't feel bad for her, especially learning the type of family vlogger she was, because I do not watch her. So I might fast forward a bit of this.
It is unheard of. It's truly unbelievable. Something that I pride myself on, something that I enjoy doing, is being transparent. And I cannot be fully transparent with certain aspects of this. And if you don't understand that, then you don't understand how the system works. The first thing that I want to say is that we have kept quiet for 3 years on the topic of our sister Ruby and Jody and Kevin and connections. That is what we have stayed quiet about.
It's definitely good that she's clarifying this for sure, because a lot of people don't realize how the system works. And I got a comment on my video actually today from my yesterday's video about how the system works and how you can't just rip kids from someone's house, and you know, you have to go through the court system and all that kind of stuff, or you could be like in a lot of trouble yourself. So I do understand where she's coming from here, but I think this video is really distasteful in my opinion.
We did not know what they were doing because, like we said, we were cut off. We did not have access to anyone. My thoughts towards Ruby and Jody and Kevin and connections is that it was all bullcrap. It was complete indoctrination of this thing that they created. I don't agree with how extreme they are on everything. I knew they were weird. I knew that they were off. Those are the things that we kept quiet about, because what was I going to say?
If you want to watch it, just go to her channel, but I can't stand to hear any more of her excuses and explanation of everything, because I really don't care. But you have to watch this next part. I have a little bit more of her in which she's crying. Just see how tone deaf she is.
It feels horrible. It feels horrible coming into the house and working on things and even thinking of anything else. All while every news outlet, every national news outlet, people coming out of the woodwork making claims that are just so beyond ridiculous that there is no comment.
You guys, she's crying about her freaking house project, whatever, renovation or whatever she's doing. Like, this is extremely tone deaf. You're complaining about people making news articles and stories and everyone's hopping on talking about it. Who cares? Instead, you should have just made your original video saying, hey, we didn't know anything about it. This is what I meant if she wanted to clarify, but then not crying about the fact that, oh, she feels bad that her husband is sad about this, but then also that they have projects they want to work on, i.e. what she means is they want to film it for YouTube, but they can't obviously post, hey, look at our renovation we're doing, blah, 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 and make money from it. So she's crying because they're losing out on money. They can't film their content. They can't share it with people because obviously what matters more is this case and the children's alleged abuse, you know? So she's just freaking tone deaf. She needs a freaking reality check, okay? So Bonnie, you suck, in my opinion. And the final thing I want to talk about are these damn PPP loans, which I literally just found out about because I put on my Google alerts for this case. So according to this website, the 8 passengers were given $83,620 in PPP loans during COVID. That is absolutely insane. Make what you will of that. But a lot of influencers got money when they shouldn't have gotten money, in my personal opinion. And now that she is a criminal, I wonder, or alleged criminal, I wonder if she is going to be having to give that money back because obviously they're going to investigate everything to do with her. So I'm curious if she's going to have to give this back. And then look at this next part. Okay, so this is on the little part of it. I haven't fully looked into the exact details of everything, but I found this hilarious that it says it says on the PPP application, 8 Passengers Productions LLC reported intending to use the proceeds of their PPP loan for the following expenses: payroll, $41,808, utilities, $1. Oh my God. Can you imagine actual real businesses, not YouTubers who were still making money during COVID because they were able to record videos and upload and buy things and link things, that actual businesses would have had to pay a lot more in utilities because they still had power running to their businesses, right? Even if they didn't turn the lights on, they're still baseline fees. This is freaking hilarious. $1. Oh my God. Okay, so that is everything I have for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed my take on the current happenings of this case. And I know I think things slightly differently than a lot of other creators. So I appreciate those who do watch my videos, who comment. I'm not always claiming to be right. I don't think I'm always right. I just like to speculate and discuss obviously what I think about this because it's my channel. So I really appreciate you guys here. And I hope that wherever you are, whether this is in the morning or the night, whenever I get this up, I hope you guys are having a fantastic day. Bye guys.